So, Parashat Vayechi, I didn't know what to write for it, and I asked my husband, and so he said, Chazal teaches in Ta'anit 5b, Yaakov Avinu lo met. Yaakov, our father, never died. So I was wondering, what does that mean, that he never died? We know that none of the tzaddikim died. It says in another Gemara, in Brachot, that the righteous people are alive even after their death. So what is special about Yaakov, and why do they say that specifically about Yaakov? They could say that about anyone. And well, the textual source for why they say Yaakov never died is because it never says that he dies. If you compare Abraham and Yitzhak, it says they expired and they died. But when you get to Yaakov, it only says that he expired. This is how it goes. And he expired and was brought in, but no mention is made of his death. Therefore, our rabbis of blessed memory said our father Yaakov did not die, and that is Rashi's commentary. And so let's try to understand what it means. So the first understanding is the most widespread, which is that a person lives on through his children. And that's what it also says, that, the legacy that a person leaves over to the next generation, that's how he continues, like what he believed in and who his essential being is carried on even after he no longer is in this world. And it also says, one who dies and leaves behind a child who's a tzaddik is considered alive. Rashi brings that. And so there's a long pasuk in Yirmiyahu where it talks about, don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant. And then it says, your seed from the land of for I will save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. And so the Gemara says, here is a juxtaposition between Yaakov's seed and Yaakov himself. And from here we learn, just as his children are alive, so too is he, Yaakov, alive. Brachot 5b. And so, but that, it seems like, not exactly in a literal sense. It's more figuratively to say a person lives on through their children. And again, why is that special about Yaakov as opposed to Avraham and Yitzhak? Well, Avraham had a Yishmael and Yitzhak had a Esav. But Yaakov is the only one who had 13 completely righteous children. Another thing we know about Yaakov is that Yaakov is emet. Titen emet leYaakov, does it say in Micha? And real truth is completely eternal and will always last forever. So this is why the Yaakov is especially eternal and never dies. But I wanted to also understand how we could look at Yaakov never dies in a more literal way. And so I was just thinking of a few thoughts. And one is, originally, Adam and Eve, they were created to live forever in paradise. But when did that change? When they ate from the tree. And so that brought death and demise. Now it's also known that Esav is the incarnation of the primordial serpent, and that Yaakov is the rectification of Adam. It's in Gemara, Baba Metzia 84a. So when Yaakov overcame Esav's archangel, it was a victory over the angel of death, actually. From then on, Yaakov's entire body, save his left thigh, was illuminated with eternity. But actually, the story of reclaiming immortality started even beforehand, when Yaakov had to acquire the blessing of his father Yitzhak. He had to acquire it with deceit. Why? Because this blessing is also the blessing of eternity and immortality. And that blessing was taken away from Adam and Eve by the snake, and he took it away with his cunningness and with his deceit. So Yaakov had to use the same exact tools as the snake to wrest back and to reclaim the blessing of eternity from the snake. And that is how Yaakov, even the man of truth, received the blessing through deceit. So whatever we believe, whether Yaakov's immortality is figuratively or literal, the statement, Yaakov, our father, is not dead, can strengthen us, his descendants, in the realization that we too inherited an aspect of his immortality, and therefore we don't have to be afraid of death. Now, the spiritual exercise for this week's Parsha is to overcome fear of death. So close your eyes, make yourself comfortable, lean back and surrender as you breathe slowly. Inhale and exhale gently with awareness of your breath. Imagine looking at the sky at night and contemplating the infinity of space. There are stars so distant from you that they're measured in a distance that light travels in an earthly year. Beyond those stars that you can see are endless galaxies that stretch out into something we call eternity. Breathe into how the space that you occupy is infinite. Its vastness is too huge for us to see. We're in an infinite, never-ending, never-beginning universe. Visualize birth and death as a cycle. Contemplate their relativity. Whereas birth is death to the spiritual world, death is actually birth into the spiritual world. Keep breathing while you pay close attention to the following sentence. If life is infinite, then this is not life. Repeat this sentence in your mind and consider how life is truly infinite. We can see this in everything that we scrupulously observe. Allow yourself to accept that life, in terms of our body and all of its achievements and possession, which without exceptions begins and ends in dust, isn't life itself. Ponder the true meaning of life in the most spiritual and eternal sense. Imagine a great loving light bestowing you with the deepest compassion. Allow yourself to feel at peace within this light of kindness. Breathe the light into your heart and let your heart absorb its great compassion and love. Let a feeling of acceptance and trust fill your entire being as you keep envisioning yourself enveloped within this great light. Allow yourself to feel completely safe.